Okay, so today we are going to talk about something that, oh man, really grinds my gears, slash gets to me, slash annoys me, slash pisses me off, depending upon the situation. And that is books with open endings. Okay, now I get it. Like a lot of things that carry an opinion, this is subjective. There are people out there who absolutely love books with open endings. I'm just not one of them. No, I need to have an ending. It needs to end for me in a way that I know we are done, and that is it, and there's no more. The book is done, the story is done, and not the book is done, but it feels like it needs more. So, oh my goodness. Let's begin by doing a bit of a deep dive explanation as to this whole situation. How is it that a book can have an open ending? All right, I'm going to give you an example. One of the most well-known modern-day final sentences in a fairy tale is, "And they all lived happily ever after." That is a closed ending, because they all, everyone in the book who's still around anyway, lived happily ever after, implying to the end of time. They were happy for the rest of their lives. Yay! The end! But what if a fairy tale were to change that final line to, "They all lived happily ever after, or so they thought until there was a knock at the door. The end." And this is a standalone. I don't get how people like it. I'm not saying that I can't appreciate that different people have different opinions, because I do. Everyone has different opinions. I think that's great. If we didn't have different opinions, this reading world of ours that we get to discuss as readers would be a monolith, and it would be incredibly boring. So I love and appreciate wholeheartedly that we have different opinions. But I honestly don't get how readers can love an open ending and go, "Okay, there was a knock at the door. Oh, what a great way to end." Really? Hang on, wait, no.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
There was a knock on the door. Who was it? What did they want? It could be just a well-wisher saying, "I heard that you married the prince and I'm so happy for you." That's great. Open the door, let them say that, and then say the end. Because it could also be some evil person on the, because I'm thinking fairy tale, there could be an evil witch on the other side of the door who says, "Well, clearly after I lifted that curse, you went ahead and got with this person anyway, and now they are happy and I'm not, so I'm going to turn him," I don't know, I'm thinking Beauty and the Beast. I'm going to turn him back into a beast now. I mean, no, it doesn't work for me. I remember reading a book. I'm going to try and keep all of this as spoiler-free as possible by not giving names or anything too identifiable. I remember reading a book, and I loved this book, and we get to the end, and there's these two characters. They're driving home after having gone out to do the big thing, the big finale at the end of this standalone book. And they're driving home, and they're happy because it all worked out, and, you know, we're about to have our "they all lived happily ever after" moment, and everything's going so well. And then they turn the corner, and the protagonist notices that their house is on fire. The end. Are you kidding me? Are you... In what world, for a standalone, is it acceptable to say our house was on fire? The end. I mean, at the very least, please do us the courtesy of putting a question mark and having it as the end. Maybe not. No, that is not an ending. I read a book where we had a protagonist who had travelled overseas. they came home and they received a phone call. And the phone call was from someone they had met overseas who they themselves had gone somewhere else overseas to live and had left an item of theirs behind in that place where our main character had met them, and they wanted to give this to our main character as a gift because they'd become a good friend to them. Little do they know that our main characters received this message after they've gone back home to their own country, and the likelihood of them being able to go back to that country to get that gift is slim to none. To me, that is open-ended. Did they go back? Did they get the gift? I'm not someone who can sit there and go, "Aw, that's so sweet. They left them that gift. Oh, what a beautiful ending." No. If you're going to do that, let the story go at least a little bit longer. Even if it's 2 sentences where the main character says, "So of course, naturally, 2 months later I went back and I got the thing and it made me really happy. The end." Not just, no, you can't do this to me. Like, okay, there is a line, and again, I'm trying to keep this spoiler free, so if you know, don't allude to it in the comments below. Don't allude to the title of the book or series that I'm referring to below. There is a series that I've read where the final 3 words are all is, or all was, or was. All was well. It's a great way to wrap up a book or a great way to wrap up a series. Characters in this series had gone through a lot of trials and tribulations. Things have been extremely tough for them. But right at the end of the book, all was well. Great. We've wrapped it up. We are done. That is it. There is no open ending there. We're good. We're done. Finito. How can we have these open endings? It's just, no. Although, there was a book I read that had an amazing twist at the end. And the twist involved time travel. I can say that because I'm not mentioning the book. See, Mr. Francy has found this great workaround that if you don't say the name of the book, you can say the spoiler outright. This is amazing. I've got to do this a whole lot more. The twist at the end was that this thing that was happening, our main character in this book didn't know why this thing was happening. We find out in the end that the answer is time travel. Well, and actually the answer was a time loop, to be more specific. So where you go through something and then it loops around and repeats again, just like a day repeating itself. In a loop, you are literally stuck in that loop, and that thing that you go through repeats and repeats and repeats and repeats and repeats. Anyway, not the point. The point is, so that's an open-ended ending, because the book ends revealing that it is a time loop, and our protagonist starts at the beginning again at the end of the book, which is a great way to end the book. It's a great reveal. But I wasn't at all frustrated with that open ending because I knew what was going to happen. The same thing was going to keep on happening, and I don't think that this main character was going to break the time loop. So I was actually okay with that. But 9 times out of 10, if you leave it open-ended, you're going to frustrate me. And this frustration only ever occurs with the standalone or the final book in a series, because if you end a book with an open ending, but it's a book that's in the middle of a series, well, yeah, of course I'm fine with that, because I know there's another book coming, so all good. Please don't talk to me about the 3rd book in the Arc of the Side series, however. Yeah, that annoyed me. Second last book ended in such a good way. And then there was book 3. But we will let that go. But my point is, it's just incredibly frustrating. Open-ended. Why? So, okay, those who are for open-ended series, I hear them often say, open-ended series are amazing because we get to decide in our mind how the book actually ends. Okay. Great. I couldn't be more thrilled for you. Not for me. No. Why? Because it's not my job to make up the ending. I'm not the author. I want the author to end the book for me in a way that ends the book because I'm reading their work, not my own. Is that too much to ask? And if you want to, give some alternate endings. There is, oh my gosh, I have to refer to Orphan, the film. If you've seen Orphan, such a good movie. And the second one I love too, and apparently there's a third one coming out. But anyway, I'll make my point, I'll keep it brief. The way that the first Orphan film ended up ending is different to an alternate ending that was originally filmed to be the original ending. I actually prefer the original ending because it's darker than the one they went with, because Little Shop of Horrors is the same. Have you ever seen Little Shop of Horrors? Oh my gosh. The ending? the ending they went with? Okay, yep, fine. Whatever you say. The original was so much better. But this is my point. If you want to leave it to my imagination as to what happens, why not do an alternate ending? Seriously, it'll be fun. People love, I love alternate endings. I don't know about you, but I think people love alternate endings. Do you love alternate endings in films? Let me know in the comments below. I love them. Like, whether or not I agree with the ending that they came up with, or whether I prefer the ending they settled on or the ending that they're originally going to have. I love that there's alternate versions. Why not give us alternate endings in books? Just be like, okay, the end, alternate ending 1. And then you turn the page and there's like a page or two with alternate ending 2. And then you can decide if Miko and Sashwana end up both dying at the end, or they end up really incredibly happy with a large family, and you can choose. And depending on how you're feeling at the time, there will be people for column A and there will be people for column B. Like, you know what, today I just want them to both die. And then you have other days where you're like, no, today I want them to live happily ever after. At least that would be an ending. But see it at this, my friends. Isn't the point of the two most common words ever used in an English written book at the end, the end? And doesn't the words the end imply that this is the end? So it implies that it is an ending. The book has come to its end. So why would you leave the end open? It doesn't make any sense to me, because again, I'm only referring to the last book in a series or a standalone. Why wouldn't you want to have a satisfying ending? Why would you want to leave it open and go, oh, and that's the worst part. All of the examples I can think of, had the book ended a sentence 2, at maximum 3 before, it would have been a closed ending, but because they had to add 1, 2, or 3 sentences, suddenly it's an open ending. Like, why did you have to include that? Just don't. Just leave it out. Because that's what gets to me. Just leave that out. But it's an ending. So how can it be open if it's an ending? Now, there are some exceptions that I will grant, now that I think about it. If it's a horror, if it's a thriller, I will absolutely grant you an open ending. Like, we were all good and we were all living happily ever after, and then suddenly there was a knock at the door. The end. And then I turned around and all I saw was these big white eyes, widened eyes. I don't know. It's a horror. It's a thriller. That's fine. And you can imply from it anyway, so it is kind of an ending. Like, if that's the last thing written in a horror, especially, then your main character, they dead. Okay? Like, I mean, unless you're going to lamely end with the words "and then the world turned to black," which, I'm over reading those words in a horror. And the world turned to black. Of course it did. If there's no more, they died. Right? It's reminding me of an episode of The Simpsons. He died. Mum said he was sleeping. She lied.
I had a cat named Snowball. She died. Mom said she was sleeping. She lied. Why, oh, why is my cat dead? Couldn't that Chrysler hit me instead? I had a hamster named Snuffy. He died.
No deal.
Sorry. Big shout out to Lisa. Okay. So, it's an issue that I have. It's my issue. But I'm wondering if this is your issue too, or if it's not your issue. And let me know that in the comments below. If it were my way, as Alice from the Disney version of Alice in Wonderland once said, "Oh, in my world, you wouldn't say meow. You would say, 'Yes, Miss Alice.'" Have you seen the film? I love it. And the cat goes, "Meow." And Alice goes, "Oh, but you would." Gosh, I hope to see that film again. In my world, every fictional book's ending would be an actual closed ending. It is not enough for me to justify an ending by saying that is the last word on the final page of the book. In my world, an ending needs to be closed off. Because if you leave it open, it is a plot hole, even if you leave it open in the very last sentence, it is still a plot hole. And as I used to say back in the day when I watched PLL, Pretty Little Liars, a plot hole, like a pothole, needs to be filled. So you can't put a plot hole at the end of, unless it is a horror, as I said, but at the end of a contemporary, or at the end of a fantasy, or at the end of really a sci-fi, a romance. Oh gosh, could you imagine a romance having a plot hole at the end of a romance? I knew that Michael and I would last forever. And then I turned, and there was Ricky. And I wondered, had I actually made the right choice? The end? Are you kidding me? Like, no. I mean, who's living happily ever after there? No judgments at all. For all I know, Michael and Ricky were happy for it to be a throuple. But it's an open ending. It doesn't work for me. Oh, my goodness me. So, let's leave it there. This has been a great discussion. I hope you've enjoyed it too. Let me know your thoughts. Open endings. Do you accept them or not? And as I say, I love that we have differing opinions. So if you completely disagree with me, please do let me know in the comments below. Let's start a dialogue. Because the world would be a much more boring place if we all just agreed on the same thing. So let me know if you disagree and why you disagree. But that's where I'm going to leave it for today. This video is now going to come to an end. And I hope I haven't left any plot holes out of this video. If I have, let me know. Call me out on them. But in the meantime, letting you all go with peace, blessings, and so much love. Please do be kind and love one another and spread your sparkling energy all throughout the world. And until next time, happy reading. Bye, everyone.